I have two very, very special guests today. You might be familiar with them. The Straight Red Card. We have Brett and Derek to sadly talk about some USMNT stuff. But hey, maybe things aren't looking as bad as it maybe did last Saturday. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. I mean, we went to the game last night. So, I mean, Brett didn't have to work today, but I did.
I got to sleep until 8. I think Derek actually got to sleep in later than I did.
Yeah, I mean, because I only missed my first period, and then I got 2 planning periods in a row. So I woke up at like 9:50 and went to work. It's not bad. Yeah, we were there. So I'm still actually a little tired from it all. It wasn't so much the game, it was the driving that was exhausting. Because as Brett can tell you, we on the way home.
My God.
On
before
70,
before we even got driving,
yep.
We were parked in this very tiny parking lot, a couple blocks from the stadium. One of the like maybe like the back row of general parking of this lot, and we were stuck in that lot for like
40 minutes,
50 minutes, just trying to get out because there was no light at the intersection of where all these 2 parking lots were bleeding into.
There was no cops to direct traffic or attendance to direct traffic at all. It's the worst experience I've ever had going to a soccer game and trying to leave it.
Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure you give it a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are 180 subscribers away from 10,000. We're getting so close. And once we hit 10,000, we will be giving away a copy of FC 26 that you're not going to want to miss. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Now, back to the video.
Like you couldn't leave. You were stuck
so it was just a free-for-all.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
And wow. I'm sitting there because I'm in the middle of a lane and there's a lane that tees up against us in this parking lot. And I get there, we're waiting, and then a white truck comes and the white truck's going to let us go. But then was it a Japanese family?
No, I don't think so. No.
But regardless, they get in this red SUV directly ahead of us that's parked, but they backed in their spot. They get in there, turn on the lights, and then just pull right in front of both of us.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you fuck."
Well, we had a name for her by the end of the night, and it wasn't something we can say on Will's show. All right.
You guys will have to guess what was the name. Leave it in the comments. Let us know what you think the name was.
Yeah, we had a name for her.
So, real quick, what was the last time you guys went to a game together?
Never.
Well,
now Indy 11 games.
Yeah. Indy 11 games, yeah. But we never went to the games together at Indy 11 games. We always just met up there.
Yeah, we just met up there.
Like
but
so this is your first USMNT game together?
Yeah, we drove there together. We watched together. We left together. Yes.
Nice.
No, we didn't sleep together afterwards.
Got home at 1:20. Brutal.
But we separated.
That trip home for like an hour and a half to 2 hours straight of that 2 hour and 30 minute to 3 hour drive was down to 1 lane because they decided to paint all the stripes, all the lanes on I-70 that
all
night.
The way home.
And then we got stuck behind this massive caravan of trucks. I've never seen so many trucks in my life. I didn't know US had that many semi trucks.
Yeah,
but they were all going down 70 at the same time.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, we're probably boring you with our like drive home experiences, but what the hell? We thought we'd let you know how the experience was after the game.
Yeah, hey, listen, everybody likes to peek behind the curtain, the play-by-play on your guys. You guys need next time you go to a game together, you need to vlog it. You need to just record the whole experience.
I have an iPhone 8, so my battery life, I start doing something and like 30 seconds later, I'm down to 40%. So, no, I recorded myself. I was at, we were at, what was it, Dirty Nick's or something like that.
Yeah.
One of the concession stands there to get a hot dog. I got to say, the Chicago-style hot dog I got is all right.
It was okay.
Wasn't bad. It was okay for stadium food, I guess.
Yeah.
The $13 can of Modelo. Man, that's pricey.
Yeah.
I bought a case for that price.
And I got 2 of them. So there you
go. Feeling good. Feeling good. $26 beers.
Yeah.
Total.
I didn't have to drive. So there you go.
Yeah. There you go. Well, as far as I want to get into the Japan game, which you guys both attended. And we talked about this before we started recording. Brett was mentioning how sometimes it's hard to dissect the game, because when you're watching it in person, it's a lot different than watching it at home, because the way the crowd's reacting and everything happens just looks a little different. But the South Korea game, we all watched at home. What was that was Derek and I did a show talking about the roster, and everybody had lost their mind. We were very upset with everything. Now, obviously, there was a little context about, giving people an opportunity to try to win a spot for 2026 and get in the good graces of Poch, which I think a couple people did, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think that South Korean performance, guys, was exactly kind of what we would expect after what we saw this roster be. Like, were you surprised at all by how bad we looked against South Korea?
I wasn't. Playing a 4-2-3-1. Those players are just not capable playing that formation. Not to
mention giving the number of debuts or the limited call-ups with the national team of half the starting lineup had.
Yeah, no. I mean, so kind of figured that might be a disaster. It was. As soon as we changed formation, the game changed. So,
Gotta lean into South Korea taking their foot off the pedal, though.
Yes, a little bit of that too, for sure. But yeah, a dire game where I think you had the Jimmy Conrads of the world, the Alexi Lawlesses, the Charlie Davies, even the Tony Miolas.
Everybody but the Winaldas.
Yeah, freaking out. And for good reason. It was piss poor. And then we got the commentary afterwards from Pochettino, and we thought this guy's on drugs or he's smoking something that's not very good for his brain. And then, of course, he got very defensive after the criticism. And so, but yeah, it was a piss poor game. It really was, until the change of formation. And even then, we couldn't squeak one in. So
you bring up the Poach comments and stuff like that, but the fact that he's willing to just throw like the current state or whatever onto the fans being the problem. You guys must be positive. Your comments and you're being negative. The negativity is weighing down on the players. You must trust the process. Trust the process. I'm like, guys, Poach, you've been here for a year and some change. We've been here as long as we've been here, And this is arguably some of the worst ball that we've seen the national team play throughout the decades.
Yeah.
So we're going to be negative. We're going to be negative. This isn't what we want to see.
And a lot of L's.
We can't just sit there cheerleading in the sidelines going, we lost again. Don't worry, we'll get them next time.
Yep.
Well, I say that too. You're supposed to have, me and Derek talked about this too, about expectations. Like, we're supposed to have our standards. We're supposed to have standards. We shouldn't be cool with losing. And you said, Brett, that we've been fans for a long time, and it is hard to believe that Poch has already been here for a year. That is actually kind of hard to believe, because there's not really been not a lot of positivity in that year. At least I think most of us agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, between him pooping on the players, which I don't think that was necessary. It's certainly, he's part of the negativity problem. Like, already the fans were like, oh, the players don't care. And then Poach does 2 interviews and said the players don't care enough, whatever that means. Might be true. Maybe I think they care. We said this before. I just think they're not bringing a big enough chip to the games. And that's what we said earlier. But then again, neither is Poach, because he's got nothing to lose here. So that performance against South Korea, first team mostly, and Son, was not shocking, especially playing somebody like Tristan Blackman and giving him a start and just throwing him to the wolves, basically in a back 4, and expecting that to work out is just crazy. But I mean, Poach will tell you, well, I wanted to give everyone a chance. And he did in this window, everybody but Banks. Everybody got to play.
Apparently had a knock, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to touch base on this last, and I'll move on from this point. But I can't get over the fact that he's sitting there saying, like, you guys have to be positive, et cetera, because, I mean, he played, for Argentina? What if Argentina went on a shit streak where they're losing, to all the top, 30 teams they play?
Colombia.
How quickly do you think, we lose to Panama, equivalent from U.S. to Panama. What would you say? Like Argentina to what? Peru, Bolivia, something like that.
Uruguay.
It'd be like if you lost to Uruguay, and then, like, say, as you mentioned before, like Colombia, And then, I mean, those are more equals with Brazil. Yeah.
How quickly will Argentinian fans start throwing hissy fit?
And then there were multiples, right? So
Yeah.
when you look at that against top 30 and you see LL win, now finally another one,
Hooray!
Yeah.
So if Scaloni was the manager with this resume, would he have been fired already? With this result?
Argentina?
Probably.
Yes. Now, obviously, take the World Cup off the table. Hell, keep the World Cup on the table. I still think even that wouldn't save him if he had this bad run of results.
Yeah.
Scaloni, he'd be gone.
Any serious organization would, I think, at this point.
Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. Yeah.
And that's why, with some of the commentary or feedback they give us when we press them or say anything, it's like they don't want us to have standards or expectations, that they're just like, hey, it's fine, it's all good, don't worry about it, we're good, everything's going to work itself out.
You didn't get the memo, Will.
Just be happy we're playing for you.
Yeah, in front of you, but you guys aren't showing up. You guys need to show up. You need to go watch the games.
You need to show up, you need to shut up.
Shut up and show up.
We all need to be as one as we head to the World Cup.
I'll say, I think the American fans did show up for the Columbus game.
Yes.
The atmosphere, I was listening to the extended replay, echoed just as loud live.
Yeah.
As it does on the play. So that was good. I mean, there were Japanese fans, of course, but predominantly, I think the stadium was filled with American fans, and they said the attendance was like something like 20,000 some odd change, and I would believe it. The only open areas were underneath the cameras where all the expensive seats were.
The most expensive seats were the only place, that were slightly empty.
Else was sold out, yeah.
Yep.
Well, so I want to ask you, as far as the first game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you guys think was the most disappointing in that first match, or in the first match? Now, I just want to say this real quick for you guys. Give me your answer. Pulisic bitched this whole entire summer. He didn't want to play he didn't want to play in the Gold Cup. He was like, let me play the 2 friendlies and I want to go home. I want to rest, yada, yada. I don't want to play. And Poch's like, no, it's either you're all in or you're all out, right? And then he tries to, boy who cries wolf. Oh, there is no skin. Oh, it's not, trying to go on this PR run where he's trying to like clear his name or whatever. And then the first game he comes back after he said he needed rest, he stunk the joint up. I thought he was absolutely terrible in that first game. I didn't think he was good at all.
Yeah.
He ghosted.
We talked about it on Monday.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm going to tell you the most disappointing players are.
Don't you dare steal mine.
But at the same time, I also want to preface it by saying that the way we lined up, the patterns of play we were deciding to play with, no one really could have played good in that circumstance. So I'm going to preface my commentary on my disappointment because I had 2, but. Okay. I don't know. I think Brett's going to say Sargent, right?
I'm going to say Sargent, yeah.
Okay, I'll go with Luna. I'll go with Luna. Let me go with Luna.
I'm number one Sargent stan over here. I've made arguments for him for years, and I still will say he's a great striker. He's a good striker. But when he plays for the U.S. men's national team, and I've come to the conclusion at this point, he's working his way out completely.
Well, I think he's gone now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'm just saying. He went from being a contender for a 26-man roster call, not necessarily a starter by any means, because I think Flo and Pepe had that locked, quite frankly, but he could still be included, to being way over there, because, man, he not only in a game that he had to make a name for himself, because Derek, you were calling him out saying, yeah, he's gone. That was during the Nations League. You're like, oh, this is his last opportunity. He's not gonna get called back up.
Yep, one more.
And he got called back up. He had to make a stamp his name into the game, and he was a passenger.
Again, I'm not making excuses for Luna or Sargent or anybody else that played that game, but I do have to put it within this contextual realm. The way we set up. And you have Arfson on the left playing actual left back. Dest fine on the right back. Didn't have a great game, but played well enough. You've got a brand new guy named Tristan Blackman playing center back next to a 40-year-old man. You've got Adams, who can't distribute in the middle. Berhalter, who's really good at set pieces and maybe changing fields, but not really good technically on the ground or making through balls. And then you got Luna in front of him running around a lot, doing a lot of work, but we never had possession in the first half at all.
Rarely played through him, yeah.
You got way up. I don't know what was wrong with him. Pulisic, I mean, they never really had possession, so I don't know how the offense is supposed to happen in the first half when you can't get out of your own end. It was pathetic. It was set up for failure from minute one by Poch. Set them up for failure with the roster, with the setup, with the game plan. So I feel bad for Sargent in a way because I don't think he really had a chance. I feel bad for Luna because he never really had a chance. Tristan Blackman, he never really had a chance. Of course he was going to get smoked. And Arston, of course he was going to get smoked on the left. Like, we knew all that was going to happen because those guys aren't good enough for a 4-2-3-1. You give them 3 in the back, which happened later, then you got at least some assurances that the holes will be plugged. And if you're a lesser team, and a lot of lesser teams do this, they play 3 in the back, aka 5 in the back, and it works. But we waited way too long to do that. And then after that, Poch, said, well, this team probably isn't good enough to play the kind of 4-2-3-1 I want to play. So we're just going to stick with the 3 in the back from here on out.
The team he selected. Last thing I'll say about that is I agree with you, Derek. Our attack didn't have many opportunities at all. It was very limited as we pushed forward, especially in that first half. I'll point out 2 examples, and I know one you texted me about was when Sargent had the opportunity and he instead laid it back to Pulisic instead of ripping a shot or going for it. That'd be the big one.
Yes.
But then there was a time where he received the ball just past our halfway mark, and you may have had one winger pushing up at the time, and then like 2 or 3 South Korean defenders. And instead of pushing and going for it, because you have to stamp your name. Go for the opportunities you get. You're not going to get many. Go for them. He instead held it off, laid it off, and I want to make the comparison to a recent goal he scored at Norwich, where he received the ball around halfway, he dribbled it up, he had opportunities to pass it away. He just took it, ripped the shot. It was a phenomenal shot. That's what I want. That's what I want from him.
It's like he turns into a shaking bowl of Jell-O when he plays for the U.S. and just loses all confidence.
Oh yeah, he plays very timid, and I honestly thought that with Poch giving him one more opportunity, because this is it, right? I thought maybe he would seize it because he's in such good form with Norwich. I thought at least he could be decent, right? I mean, show something, and he pissed down his leg, and I think honestly, he has a better chance of getting called up to Mexico in November than he does for the USMNT. And we know the chances of that.
Maybe, but if he were Mexican, but now, my homeboy from Fulham is playing all right. That's all I got to say. Jimenez, baby. All right, go
ahead. So is there anybody from that first game that you thought did play well? Because the first game, I thought Balogun looked good when he came on in the second half. I thought he looked pretty good. It looked a little explosive. Like you could kind of see, even if they did do a formational change, you could just see he plays with a lot more confidence than Sargent. And there was a couple dangerous touches he had. You just saw a lot of difference, right? And but the guy that I was most impressed with, and he carried into the second game, which we'll talk about a little later, and I said a guy who needs to seize the opportunity if they want to make the World Cup roster is Zendejas. I thought Zendejas looked really good in this game.
I agree.
With the limited time he played, obviously.
I agree. And then he took that into the next game and continued to play well. I think Brett and I were both pretty impressed by his play last night. And
the yellow card he got was bullshit, but
and even Pochettino said yesterday that Zendejas has played himself into the World Cup picture.
Oh, here's the weird thing about Zendejas. So the last call up he had prior to now, he came in off the bench against Mexico in that 2-0 loss we had, and him and obviously and oddly enough, Brendan Vasquez were breaths of fresh air at that point in that game. That was actually that was another really bad Sargent game too. But that was the last game Zendejas played, and I was like, wow, he actually looked lively. He created opportunities in that game, and then all of a sudden he doesn't get called up for like half a year, 3/4 of a year. It's like, what the hell happened? We're all sitting back here going, why isn't Zendejas getting called in? Why isn't Zendejas?
I think a lot of us asked that. The Zendejas' problem prior to those performances was he tried too hard.
Well, that was pre-Poach, though.
Yes,
Poach doesn't go back and watch those.
That's probably true. He has no context for that. I would agree with that. I don't think Poach watched any of the old tape. No,
none, zero
at all.
Yeah,
not at all. Clean slate because he doesn't want to watch it.
I mean, he probably has watched the World Cup tape, maybe, and maybe a few other games. I don't know what he's watched. It doesn't seem like he's watched a lot. Just my personal opinion.
I think he's just winging it, honestly. I think he's kind of going on gut feeling, watching them play under him in camp and then in his games. And it's like maybe you're relying on other people for information. I don't think he's doing I can't remember who said was doing a lot of his scouting or who's doing a lot of the progress reports for him, his assistants. But I don't think he's doing, he's not really putting in the legwork. But
Bredos was saying not long ago that he has seen his assistants all over MLS the last 6 months scouting MLS teams. So they've been doing work. What he's been doing, I'm not sure, but they've been on the
Ohio
road.
State games. What he's been doing.
Yeah, he's trying to replicate that atmosphere, Brett. He's trying to get the Ohio State, the horseshoe to USMNT.
This is
games.
how you do it, apparently.
Well, it apparently just depressed him, actually.
Yeah, but I don't know if Poach really took that into consideration, and he brought in a hype man before the game. I don't think the TV picks this up by any means, but there's just some guy that has a microphone standing on the sideline that's going, "I want to hear noise in 5 seconds."
Cringe.
God.
Yeah, it was cringe.
Yep. It's the equivalent of somebody holding like the defense sign going, defense. It's like, oh man, it's cringe.
Yep.
So leading into the South Korea game, or excuse me, the Japan game, everybody's frustrated. We're pretty unified, right? As a fan base, we all are like, get this guy the hell out of here. Not good. Poch disaster, right? Okay, if we're doing like a 1 through 10 meter, what was your, 1 being like, okay, I want him to be safe. He can stay. 10 being like, get this man the hell out of town, send him back to England or wherever the hell he wants to go. What was your guys' meter 1 through 10 after the South Korea game?
I'm still at like a 2.5, 3.
So you're not Poch out completely.
Yeah. I mean, if I could get someone I want in there,
I'm in A because I know that Poach isn't going anywhere. So.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to say. Well, I'm a 1.
Poch out if there's no chance of Poch me out. So
yeah, I'm a 1 and I want him out. I certainly got to the frustration point where I'm like, this guy's a fraud, and I'd rather have BJ coach this team at this point.
Yeah,
just because I know he knows. Because my feeling was he didn't know our pool, and he certainly doesn't know our pool. But I know BJ knows our pool.
Well, it'd be one thing if he brought in like an assistant crew that had some recognizable names that are familiar with the pool. It's cool if he wants his group that he's brought to club to come over with him. But I mean, somebody in that group has to be like familiar with the player pool as a whole.
Yep. No.
Instead of, hey, we're a year and a half in, we're just finding out this center back plays for Vancouver.
Yeah, Tristan Blackman. Yeah, he seems good. Let's give him a call up. Let's give him a call up. He might be better than Tim Ream. He might be better than Chris Richards. Who knows?
Well,
speaking of a player who had a rebound from a South Korea match.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a better game. It wasn't perfect or anything.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely not.
It was better, no doubt about that. And that's the scary thing about all this, by the way, is that because we won, I mean, does this justify in Poach's mind, his own genius, his own player picking, and how many of these guys are going to be around now for the rest of the friendlies? And is October going to be a complete nightmare of so we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
Somebody brought this up and said, because I said the same thing. I was like, expect a lot of these players to be back in October. And somebody had said that Poach mentioned at some point that he's not going to call up any MLS players during the MLS playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Okay. That's good news, I guess.
So the playoffs are October 22nd. That's the question, though, because, I mean, is he going to call a player? Because I don't think the October window is that late, is it?
Who's going to play goalkeeper? Klinsmann and Horvath?
Well, that's the good news, though. I don't. Well, I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. If you're a New England fan, probably not. But I don't think New England's in the playoff contention right now. I think they're going to miss it. So I think maybe is he going to call players who's not on the playoff team?
I would guess so. Yes.
I mean,
so who does that leave us?
Matt Turner.
I know Chicago's currently in a playoff spot, but I'm not holding out hope that we're going to hold on to that playoff spot. So maybe Brady's available.
Yeah, maybe Brady.
Also, the MLS playoff starts like October 22nd. The October window is like October 10th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
the October window may still include MLS players.
Absolutely.
Unless they're vying for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to
consider for sure.
that. I don't know.
So, yeah, I don't think
but
he's
November? No, that
anybody.
November shot.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, it could be. Well,
unless those players, unless Seattle's and Vancouver are out of the playoffs by November, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to another USMNT friend of mine yesterday, thinking about this because I want to move into the second game as well, the game you guys attended. But I was just thinking about Arvston, or many people call him Barvston at this point, right? I guess depends on what side of the aisle you're on that. But have you guys ever? I was just trying to think about this because this discussion we were having. Have you guys ever? Jedi is the best left back we have. I don't think it's even debatable. It's like runaway clear number one. But have you guys ever seen a left back like Arvston get so many caps, so many appearances, and not be the starter for a coach? Like when have we ever seen that when a guy's not injured though? Like if Jedi was completely injured, like Dest had been for the last year and a half, that would make sense. But like when have we ever seen a player healthy and not get chosen over, what I'm saying? Like Arvston just been way too much a part of Poch's plans.
To be absolutely fair, Jedi was injured for most of last season and still played. And then he had surgery, wasn't available for the last window. And he's still not a starter for Fulham. He's playing 20 minutes here and 15 here and 30 here because he's not fit. He is not 100%. So I was not surprised that Jedi was not called up for this window because he's yet to play 90 minutes for Fulham since coming back from the injury. So
Jedi was out injured during the Nations League. He got surgery done over the summer.
Yep.
This is the only time where he's been healthy, but he just got back from recovery. So I understand why he wasn't called in this one. I expect him fully in October. I don't know. We talked about earlier on setting up players for failure. I will say this much for Arvston, in defense of Arvston. When Jedi first started with the national team, he had about 5 or 6 games where people were like, "This guy's trash. He's horrible at defense. Get him off."
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020. You fast forward 3, 4, 5 years. And he's arguably, at this point, he's one of the best, if not the best, left back in the Premier League.
Or one of the best.
So I prefaced by saying one of the best, if not the best. But you go back to when he made his debut for the national team, and you're sitting there like, this can't be the same guy.
Yeah, it was a rough beginning. I'm not saying Arvston has the same trajectory, and I don't think that Arvston's a left back.
Yeah.
At best, he's a left wing back, but he's probably a left winger. And
well, that's what I said. I said he's either a left wing back in a 3-back system, or he's backup for Pulisic if he's called in as a winger.
Yeah,
because if you go back and if you watch Arvston when he's playing against Japan, especially not necessarily against South Korea, but Japan especially, he created the assist for Zendejas. He's whipping in balls. He's being creative and doing little scissors and cutovers here and everything like that. But he's doing this all in our offensive third. When you look at him when he's in our defensive third, where am I at? That's what he feels like, It's just very questionable.
And I think if we do bring 4 backs to the World Cup, Dest and Jedi are in. The question is who gets screwed because Freeman and Arvston are there, and that's probably Joe Scally.
Has Freeman done enough? I mean, maybe not in Poach's eye, but from our eyes.
In Poach's eyes. Not in our eyes, but
has Freeman done enough in our eyes to offset Scally?
I try not to look at it that way because I'm looking at it through Poach's lens.
You'll never get away. It's Disney. I get it.
Yeah. I just don't want to make-believe lineups for people so they're frustrated when it doesn't happen. I really do think Freeze Freeman and Arson are the backups to Destin Jedi right now, and I don't think John Tolkien's in the picture. I don't think that Joe Scally, whatever he did on that golf cart, whatever happened there, but he seems on the outs too.
Here's the argument I'll make. Here's the argument I'll make. If we go with the 3-back, and we're talking about just players who are going to play the wing back, yes, Scally's out. He's not a forward attacking type of wing back player.
No,
he's not. But if you're playing a 3-back and you're looking for center back depth, 100% absolutely, I'm taking Scally over
Blackman.
A whole bunch of them. Blackman. I'm taking him over CCV. I mean, we haven't even seen Trusty. I don't even know enough about Trusty to say should we even call him in. Outside the fact he's playing for Celtic, but
is he playing for Celtic? He's sort of maybe
in flux starter. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just you bring up a good point talking about Poch. He just goes by a different equation than we do, right? Like he just doesn't add his numbers the same way. And that's why I asked about Jedi and why I asked you guys about Arfston, because I'm not saying that he will, and I don't say I agree with this. Jedi should be the left back. We all agree with that.
Yep.
Anybody watches the team should be. But that's the thing. I have no idea what he's going to do.
I have
no idea. I
would say this. When Jedi was healthy and he played for Poch, he played so damn good.
Yep, that Jamaica game window,
I just don't think there's any way he thinks that, and he's played against Jedi multiple times in the Premier League. He knows who that guy is. That's why he's given him this wide berth. He's like, I already know who that guy is. I'm trying to find a backup to Jedi.
Exactly. I think Poch just happy to have the backup.
In case, one, he's injured for the World Cup, or two, we're bringing 4 backs.
Or, we already pre-qualified before the third game of the qualifier, and then you throw an Arson in there because who gives a fuck,
Yeah. I don't think he actually thinks that Arson is a better left back, which he's not. He's a left wing back or left winger than Jedi Robinson. I'd be shocked by that, and I'd have to hit him upside the head if he said that.
So, okay, as far as this Japan game that you guys went to, right? Now, there's a lot of people saying that they were using they were using their B team, C team, combination, whatever.
But they made 11 changes from the Mexico game, so.
Yeah, so it was a complete B team for the most part.
Yep,
but to be fair, we didn't use our A team. It's like we had every single first choice player out there, so it was like more of like a mixture of A B, right? Hell, maybe even actually no, Tristan Blackman's like F. He's like F, right? So we got a couple Fs in there.
I think ours was more of D plus, A minus, because we did have Pulisic in there. We did have Ream, who's going to be a starter, no doubt about it. Richards. Freeze is probably our starting goalkeeper. Adams was playing. So I think we were more of an A minus, B plus. They were certainly B minus, I think. I mean, the first thing I said to Brett when we sat down in our seats and I looked down the field, I'm like, hey, who's this goalkeeper? I don't know who the hell this Japanese goalkeeper is. Who is this dude? Like, oh, he's a J League goalkeeper. Okay, well, where's the guy we've been watching in Serie A all season who's definitely the starting goalkeeper, right? But that guy ended up playing okay.
Before the game even kicked off, I was scrolling through Twitter and people are like, oh, they didn't even start like 5 of the normal starters. But then I'm listening to the recap, not the recap, but the highlight reel. And before the game kicks off, like, yeah, Japan made 11 changes from the Mexico game. I'm like, well, they just made an entire line change, in other words.
Right.
What do you say like that? They made 11 changes. They made an entire line change is what they made.
Yep.
Yeah, give the guys a breather, like their stars. And they did put in some stars, like I think at some point in the game, like maybe 5 or 6 guys, I think, started in the last game. But
it didn't help them. It didn't help them, by the way. They still were getting their asses kicked. And
they may have watched. Yeah. They may have just watched us play South Korea and said, we can start our 11 bench players. Why not?
They probably did think that, honestly. They probably did.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Because Japan, I think everybody could agree, is better than South Korea. And so they probably did think that they could get away with that. But as far as this game, regardless of like what the lineups were, because obviously that is part of the equation. But obviously this team just needs some confidence. This team needs to get something in the win column. So as far as what you guys watched in person, who is one player that really stood out to you and looked good in this game for the USMNT?
I mean, not to go with the regulars, so I'm not going to. I mean, I was happy with Balogun, but I thought
Balogun, we're fine. Yeah.
No. I was just saying I could pick Balogun because that's an obvious one, but Zendejas, I think for me,
we already talked about him. Yeah.
I mean, he scurried all over. He was great first touch everywhere. A real bulldog. I think I know people are not going to like this, but I thought he made Luna look like we don't really need Luna. I think Zendejas is a way better player right now than Diego Luna. And if you're gonna have to cut an attacking player to get somebody else on, like bringing in a Pepe or a Wright or what, I think Luna's the guy who might suffer there.
This kind of goes back to the argument we kind of started at the beginning of the show, where we're like watching it live versus watching it on a screen. I've got a nice big computer monitor right here. I watch all my games on, especially when we do our live streams and stuff. And Derek's sitting there squinting at his big screen TV because he can't see players.
I'm blind.
Like, who's it? Was that Pulisic? I'm like, dude, no, it's Balogun. What are you talking about?
But on this night, I was telling Brett who was
I was only mixing up Roldan and Pulisic because eerily enough, from a distance, Pulisic and Roldan look very similar.
Same profile, right?
Strangely, yeah.
Okay.
But no, it's watching it live, compared to watching the highlights, even just the highlights. And how many highlights did Luna really have? Well, not a whole bunch, but he had 3 highlights in there that stood out more than what I remember seeing outside of that leave he did for McGlynn, who
that was
rocked
nice.
The bar.
Yeah.
That was a great leave. I mean, clearly he knew he was there, and he sold it perfectly too. Man, the defender went right with him. That was the only real highlight I remember of his. But then I watched the highlight reel, and he had a couple of plays in there. He shot on a decent shot or whatever. There were a couple of plays. I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't as bad as I recall.
I didn't say it was bad.
It wasn't
it just wasn't. It just wasn't Zendejas good.
Sure. No,
that's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Right. And so there are limited spots in the attacking midfield and the attacking areas right now. Since Zendejas, I think, to me, as Poch said himself, claimed a potential spot in the World Cup. So somebody's got to go. And maybe you keep Luna and Aronson's gone. That's up to you, right?
I was saying at winger depth. I mean, I think Luna's vying for that 10 with Tillman, and then depending, I guess, really on how he plays, Reyna, we'll see what happens as the season progresses.
Right.
But,
well, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, though, that I think that if all the players in the Poch era, if there was one guy who we've seen, I don't want to say peak, but like just increase their stock the most and then just completely collapse it, it's got to be Luna. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's like an absolute roller coaster with how he feels. I mean, I felt pretty good about him. Maybe, I guess it was January. I felt okay about him. I thought he was okay in a couple matches in the Gold Cup, and then he really cratered when the competition, started to increase. Like Mexico, he was a ghost. I mean, he didn't do anything in that game. And I do think that Pochettino is partial to him. I do think he likes him a lot.
No,
I do
agree.
think he wants to bring him to the World Cup. But Zendejas, I think Zendejas has shown, because we talked about this earlier with Sargent, right? This was like a last ditch effort to really submit yourself for 26, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that Sargent pissed his leg. Zendejas made the most of the opportunity.
Yes. And they're limited spots is all I'm saying. I'm not saying Luna doesn't deserve to go to the World Cup at this point, because we don't know who else is going to drop like a rock. Like if Aronson becomes a total non-entity at Leeds, he's probably way out of this picture too. Maybe Wright truly did piss Poch off in that window when he was apparently upset that he didn't get the start over Ajima. If those stories are true and that actually happened in the locker room, and we saw it when he scored, he was pissed. He picked up the ball and he ran back angry. He was not celebrating that goal at all. So I don't know about that and whether or not Wright's emotionally placed himself off the attacking group. So it's going to be tight. Somebody's got to go. And we're talking about, what if Tillman, I mean, we know Tillman's going to make this team. Poch loves Tillman. But what if Reyna has a really, really, really good season? That's another guy you want to get on the roster. So then another guy's got to go, right? So we got to keep in mind.
Well, here's the thing. You got to keep into consideration that as of right now, are unless you start considering like Pulisic as a 10 option in the format that Poch wants to play, it's Tillman and Luna. I don't think either. I think as of right now, those two are locks in that position. I agree.
You mean Pulisic and Tillman?
No, Pulisic. I think Pulisic is locked as one of our winger options, and there's flow back and forth. I don't think he's I think he's considering him as wing depth, and then there's flow back and forth.
Can we say this?
I think Luna has as of right now has solidified himself with Poch primarily because of the bulldog aspect of him.
Yes,
maybe, but hear me out, Brett. In last night's game, we saw Zendejas and Pulisic flip around. They weren't all, in fact, many times they were tucked in a lot.
There was a lot of times Zendejas was covering for Arsene because Arsene was on the right-hand side.
I'm hearing you, but listen to me. To me, it looked like he was playing a 4-3-2-1. And that 2 in that 4-3-2-1 looked like a double 10, yes, / winger. It wasn't like a classical winger, like because Pulisic and Zendejas tucked in quite a bit that night.
The 10 and winger role under Poch has been constantly in flux. They move back and forth. Absolutely, 100% agree. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm just saying, if you consider Pulisic as your left wing, and you consider say Weah as your right wing, and Zendejas as a right wing, I mean, you got to think of who's going to fill in the void in that 10 role. And we know it's at this point it should be Tillman.
Well, what I'm saying is
who's backup, and then who's backup to Pulisic, and who's pushing Luna out.
What I'm saying is in that 4-3-2-1, that 2 before you get to Ballo, they roamed. They just roamed all over the place. They switched fields number of times. We had Zendejas on the left, Pulisic in the middle. We had both of them on the same side at one point. Yeah. All I'm saying is, to me, that looks like those 2 players before Ballo are not wingers. They are 10s, free roamers. Go to open space.
I would say that in the Gold Cup, especially, I agree with you. I don't think we necessarily saw our 2 wingers pinching in because we saw against South Korea, Weah hugged that left-hand side.
When we played the 4-2-3-1, and absolutely.
Even in this match, though, Pulisic cut in, sure. Zendejas was either on the right-hand side or he was covering back for somebody who's pushing up, and he was on the left-hand side over here. He's on the right-hand side. There's a lot of fluid motion there.
I missaid that, by the way. I meant we're playing a 3-4-2-1. So we're playing 3 in the back. Everything changes. Everything changed last night. And everything changed after 60 minutes in the game versus South Korea. And those 2 players who were playing what we would think of as a winger weren't wingers. They were 10s. They were no longer wingers. They were much more packed in. And then the wingers ended up being Arsene and whoever and Dest. And then he was replaced Dest.
Formation matters.
Yes.
Formation matters, as always.
I'm just saying, if we play 3 in the back, those 2 players behind Ballo are now 10s. They're not wingers because 100%. That winger spot is taken by the backs.
So you think that ideally when we do that, or if we do that going forward, that it's going to be Tillman and Pulisic doing that?
Yes. It'll be Tillman and Pulisic behind Ballo. Sure. Yes. Yeah. And that doesn't really leave a whole lot of spots for Aronson and Luna and all the other guys. Yeah.
If Poch's idea moving forward is to go with the 3 back, yes. Luna might be on his way out at that point because you're looking at who's going to be playing depth at that point. Yeah, you have Pulisic, you have Weah, you have Tillman, and at this point, Zendejas. You're right. I agree.
Yeah, and maybe Reyna. Maybe Reyna.
I will say though, and I'm not making this as an argument as far as I said. I'm saying who played a great game by any means, but the bulldog aspect that Luna brings that I know Poch likes is one reason why I fully suspect Roldan is going to be back.
It could be.
And he was a mixed bag, and I know that he's been getting there's a lot of vitriol about him on the X and stuff like that.
Praise. Well,
some people, yeah. And I've said that he's a mixed bag because I feel like when watching him, and I don't know if this translated on TV because I don't know how well they covered it with the panning of the camera. But every time that Japan played it back to the keeper, it was Roldan that was running up there and really pressing the keeper. And as he's running up there, he's looking over his shoulder and he's waving his hands like, "Where the fuck are you guys?
Let's go! Come on!"
You know?
Yeah.
No, he covered a lot of ground last night. Like he was definitely hustling. He was all over the place. I definitely agree with that. But like, and look, I don't dislike Chris Roldan. I think he's been pretty solid for the Sounders this year.
Sure,
like he's actually been really good for the Sounders this year.
Yep.
And when you start looking at some depth options, maybe he's not. If Christian Roldan is like because the 26-man roster, if he's the 25th, 26th guy, talent-wise, I mean, I don't even know if he'd be that low. Do you think he'd be that low? Or do you think he'd be like more?
I think he'd be like in
You
the
think he'd be
30s
like
I think
somewhere.
he's out.
He's
I
in
mean,
the 30s. In my
You think he's in
opinion.
the 30s? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think that he loves McGlynn and he loves Berhalter, we haven't even started talking about Johnny Cardoso, McKennie, Aiden Morris, Musa. I mean, somebody
Yeah,
is
but those guys.
Somebody's got to go.
But those guys you just named, I don't think that they have, like, Aiden Morris should have been here right now, and he's not. So, like, I just think that there's so many players that he personally does not favor playing wise that are going to be passed up. And I don't agree with it. I'm just saying, like, based on the roster that he will probably call in, Roldan will probably be the worst player in the 26. Now, if we're talking about the entire pool of players, I agree. He's probably 30s to 40s, right? But I'm talking about people that he will realistically call in. I don't think Aiden Morris is going to be at the World Cup. I honestly don't think Brendan Aronson's going to be at the World Cup. There's a lot of players that we would think would be here. And maybe if a different coach was in charge, like maybe BJ, they would be here. But like I said, Pochettino's logic does not match our logic.
Well, I just don't see, if Johnny Cardoso's having a great season, we'll just start with him, that he's not in that midfield in the World Cup. I just do not see a way McKennie can be left off this team unless he ends up being a 5-minute player for the rest of the season for Juventus, which could happen, by the way. It could. And I don't see a way Musa, Poach just wax lyrical on Musa for like 2 windows straight about how great he loves Musa.
But then he was left off of it, though, so who knows?
Well, he was left off because maybe he's still pissed that Musa said no thank you to the call up.
Oh no, he was left off before the Gold Cup. I don't think he was at Nations League.
No, he was called up. He was one of 2. Pulisic and Musa were the only 2 players who said we'd rather be rested and we got other things to do.
And I said I don't think he was even at Nations League, which was 3
months.
Nations
League.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true in the sense that
Eric gets his tunnel vision. Like I'm talking about Gold Cup, 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 and now I'm saying no Nations League. He's like no Gold Cup, Gold Cup.
But my point would be is he was then called back up again.
Yeah.
Okay.
True. I'll agree with you.
So okay.
Well, but also too, it's like I just think that some of these guys like what we debated about Aiden Morris, right? He's having a great season. He didn't get called up. Josh Sargent is having a good season at Norwich. He's not delivering.
Out.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Johnny, every time he's played under Poch, I think he hasn't really played well. So even if he's playing good at Atletico, I don't think that guarantees he's going to be there. Because Josh Sargent's playing great in the championship, and he probably is not making this team.
Yeah, but we're talking about La Liga, and we're talking about a top 4, classically top 2-3 team in La Liga. Not right now. They haven't started off awfully in La Liga.
Yeah.
We're talking about La Liga. The championship can't touch the top half of La Liga.
So
I agree with that.
We already broke this thing down with Luna and the 10 versus the dual 10s and a 3-4-3 or whatever, 3-4-2-1.
Yeah.
It really depends on where Poach is going to go, because if he does go to a 3-4-2-1, you are really limiting the roles that Roldan can play at that point.
Yeah,
you're looking at 2 spots.
Yep.
And Adams is guaranteed one of those right there.
He is. Yep.
And then I know he didn't have a great window by any means, but I mean he's guaranteed still.
He is.
But then you gotta be looking at me like, again, McKinney may be on the outside looking in right now, but he'll be back. Guaranteed.
He will. Yeah, he's gonna be a 26 for sure. I think he will be.
And if Cardoso's killing it at Atletico, there's no way that Poach is not going to call him back in.
You won't quite need as many midfielders, will you? If you play a 3-4-2-1.
And you call somebody like
6s and 8s,
or Brendan Aronson, who could play in the midfield, or they could play out wide as a not necessarily a creative 10 by any means, not Musa by any means, and I don't even think BA by that point. But we're talking about limited roles. Now, if you're playing a 4-3-3 and you want to play with a double pivot and a creative attacker at that point, positions start opening up, because then all of a sudden, those creative attackers can also be considered wingers, and you're opening up more spots.
If you decide to go 3 in the back in your Poach from here on out, you could call up as many as 6 center backs per window, probably 5, but you could call up 6, and you're already got 3 spots taken up by goalkeeper. So you're starting to really shrink things down now about what you could do. Because if you're only playing 2 center backs, you could go with 4 or 5. it does open up the fact that you might take 3 center forwards, maybe. I don't know, but you need more wingers, you need more backs, or you need more 10s, and that limits, it shrinks who we're going to bring in certain positions, and I think that includes midfield. So
now again, we're not saying that Roldan's not going to be called in some consecutive windows here. Sure, I would be honestly shocked unless he plays, balls to the wall during those windows. I'd be honestly shocked if he's called in for the World Cup.
I just would be, that wouldn't make any sense to me.
I think it's probably I don't know. I'm a coin flip. Like I said, I just think he's so unpredictable. I really don't know. Like I just think that there's going to be several surprises that we're all going to be thinking that the Landon Donovan, Julian Green thing is like pales in comparison to what we're going to see in 2026.
Right.
Now, as far as goalkeeper, because I want to touch on this real quick, and then I want to ask you about what's next. Matt Freese looked pretty good last night. I think he's pretty much cemented his. I mean, he's going to be the starter, I think, at this point. I mean, Matt Turner would have to do something incredible to win his job back, or Matt Freese would have to just completely shit the bed, I think.
Or get some horrible venereal disease.
It's his job to lose. He's in the driver's seat, right? He's definitely he's in the driver's seat. I'm okay with Matt Freese. I don't think he's been bad. I think he's solid.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he looked good last night.
I think he's been pretty good.
It's been a long time since I've been comfortable with an actual goalkeeper in our box. So, man, I'm fine with him. I'm sticking with Freese until he proves me otherwise.
Yeah. And it's been a pleasant surprise because how many other guys could there have been we maybe would have thought would be chosen over him, right? Like, I don't think many people. Yeah, I don't think if you take it back 6 months ago, I don't think we would have thought that he would be the favorite to be the starter in 2026. I don't think so.
And his feet weren't like, they're not great, but he makes smarter decisions, I think, now since his gaff. I think last night we were kind of watching them play out of the back, and we were just like, what are we doing?
His center backs are making some questionable passes around there. Like, God, what are you doing? Get that ball out of there.
This could lead to a massive mistake, but it never did. And he does seem to know at what point the line has been crossed, and it's just time to kick that shit down the field.
Richards tried to screw it up.
Yes.
And he passed it right to a guy at the top of the 18, and they had a nice shot, but guess who saved it?
Freese. Yep. That was
Green was there to add pressure, but Freese made the save.
Well, that run that Reed made, that's the fastest I've ever seen him run.
He's got a pep in his step.
He almost got there, that 40-year-old man.
Yeah. So, moving into the next games. We play Ecuador October 10th, and then we play, was it Australia, I think, also in that window. Just to dial it back a little bit, I still don't feel great. I don't think any of us do. I mean, there's still a lot of questions, which is, you kind of want to answer
questions.
There's too many questions. Yeah. You want to have most of this answered leading up. You don't want to have more and more. It feels like there's maybe even more questions by the end of a camp, right? So is it time to hit the panic button yet? Or are you guys kind of just like, I expect this to be a disaster and it just is what it is at this point?
Yeah, I was going to say, for me at this point, it is what it is. Like,
yeah.
I look at these players and I go, they could do well.
Yeah.
But will they?
I think even when I said, hey, it's time that we might want to consider getting rid of Poach, that's not a panic button for me. I think that we've been around this a long time. So I don't even hit panic buttons. I don't even bother with that. I just tell it kind of how I feel it at the time. But if it's not what I want, I can live with it. Unlike other people who push the panic button, they cannot live with any other result other than one they want. All right, well, that's not real life. I'm old. I like to think somewhat wise. Been around watching the sport for 40, 30 years. I think that you can advocate for what you think would be a better move, but learn to live with the fact that that's probably not going to happen. Number one, Poach is probably here until after the World Cup. So I've already set myself on living with that reality, but it's not going to stop me from saying what I am watching seems to be utter chaos and or shooting from the hip, completely shooting from the hip, window after window after window. And I'm going to say it. And I'm also going to say, I don't want my manager 290 days from the World Cup to be shooting from the hip. I
Mhm.
want to see I want to see this begin to coalesce into something I can see other than a quivering bowl of Jell-O. I need to start seeing it solidify into something more like a fruitcake, right? That's
Yeah.
hard and solid, and
Well,
you don't
hard.
want to mess with it because you certainly don't want to eat it. You know what I mean?
No. Well, and I don't know if you saw this. I know we talked about it on Monday's show, but just going back to how Derek and I are approaching it. We've been around. It's not doom and gloom. We'll move on at this point
Yeah.
to the next window or the next cycle, because unfortunately that's just the way it is.
It's been that way for a long
But
time.
I mean, we're going into the Japan game, and I post a "Let's go," game day type of thread, and I get called a degenerate alcoholic MLS apologist for like 5 posts nonstop. And I'm just,
They found you out. Hey, your alias is that you've been caught.
Yeah,
Cat's out of the bag now.
I'm MLS transfer, guys, just so you know.
Yes, the whole time.
He's like, I'm an alcoholic, but I have no idea what this MLS chill thing is you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, he what was the word that he said that had to do with liver damage? Do you remember?
What the
Sclerosis of the river? Or
yeah.
Cirrhosis of the river.
Cirrhosis.
Right?
He said the way he worded it, I don't know
cirrhotic.
what that means. Cirrhotic, yeah.
Cirrhotic.
And I had to go and look it up. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fair.
We should have just texted me. I could have told you.
I Googled it. I mean, it's just as fast.
Anatomy teacher here last year, remember? All right.
Yeah.
That's why we keep you around, Derek.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's anatomy class you taught.
But in fairness, on Monday he didn't know the term gooch. So
yeah. Well, you keep me around for that and venereal diseases. I'm really good on those too.
To teach him stuff, right? Slang words, everything that what it means, see what his reaction is to it.
Yep, absolutely.
You got him from medical advice.
I mean,
yeah,
when he was my age, he was around during the horse and buggy era, so it makes sense. Got to keep him in the loop.
Cheap shot.
He's not that old. I guess it is what it is at this point. I don't have any. I do have expectations, but they've just been diminished. I mean, I think there's been a lot of ball dropping with this whole entire cycle, with just like soccer across the board in this country. So I really it is what it is. I'm pessimistic, and if I might be pleasantly surprised, and that's just kind of where I am right now. So
no, that's perfectly. Listen, we've all been teabagged. Quite often ball dropping, and if you're at that situation by this federation where you're following the team, you take a nap, you wake up with a pair of balls on your forehead. It happens all the time, and that's where we are right now because they're fully committed to this guy. There's no way this guy's gonna go anywhere, and so we have to suck it up here and hope that he reaches sanity in the same way Klinsmann reached sanity, right?
I've got to ask: is there a certain result that Poch could get that would make you think that he's moved us on to the next level?
No, not right now, because we're not going to play anybody. I don't think good enough before the World Cup that would blow my private part off, right?
Well, so, I would say that maybe if we had, because I think they said last night on the broadcast that this is the first top 25 team we've beaten, taking Mexico out since Iran, in 2022.
Yeah, their B team.
Exactly. If it was Japan's first team yesterday, Brett, and we had done that to them, I would feel better. Now, I understand it's not our first team. We talked about it earlier, but I just want to see a performance where we punch above our weight. As much grief as Klinsmann got, he punched above his weight, and even Bradley to a certain extent too. Often, like the group of death, like if we had a group of death like we did in 2014, Germany, Ghana, Portugal, we're cooked. It's over. Like you might as well just not even watch the group stage. We're done. We're not getting out. I don't even know if we'd get a point, honestly. I think we'd lose to those caliber teams. If they all three win our group, we would probably not get a single point.
Yeah, I think we all have to live the fact that if you are Stu Holden and you're playing for Bolton, that you would have wished much more for a cramp than an actual double break of your leg. And right now, we've been living in sort of how broken is the leg? And then the doctor says, well, it's just a cramp now. And it's a really bad one. And it's going to be around for a while until Poach figures out how to massage it out. And you're just hoping he can massage this somehow in the next, coming months, where we all just feel a little bit better about the cramp. And that's where we're at. We're at a cramp stage.
The argument I'll make here is that I think Poach could eventually hammer out a result. Come World Cup, he might get teams juices flowing, and all of a sudden we make a run. We get to the quarters. Who knows? Maybe we get out. Maybe we get knocked out in the semi. Let's just say we get knocked down the semi.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to be one of those people that will look at this and go like, "We've made it. We made it to the next level, guys," because we haven't. It's a one-off result. There's nothing that Poach has done really that's. And he's had a short win cycle, so I understand. But there's nothing he could do at this point that makes me think, oh, well, we're at the next level. We're competing with the top, not the top elite by any means.
No,
we're competing like, oh yeah, we're quarterfinal guaranteed now, bitches.
Nope, we're not. And when you started with the juices flowing thing, I thought you were going with a pretty hot metaphor there, but you didn't go all the way through with it, Brett.
This isn't our show, Derek. I can't go that route.
He was a little reserved on that one, wasn't he?
He did.
Checks and balances. Well, also too, the way I look at it is I feel like our whole federation was like a sinking ship, like a big gaping hole at the bottom of the ship.
Speaking of metaphors,
and
wait for it.
Like we're doing a Band-Aid job, but we just brought the nicest brand of Band-Aids, even though it's not going to do anything.
Not even that flex tape or whatever they stopped.
Not even the flex tape. No, just a Band-Aid. We got the highest premium Band-Aid you can get, but it's still not going to fix the issues. It costs more money, and maybe it's a little prettier. Maybe, I guess it's, whatever floats your boat. But or get your juices flowing, like you said. So that's the way I look at it. And I think we got a good name for you, a nickname for Pochettino, Derek. You said maybe, what did you say, massage or something, a cramp, or I don't know.
Massage the cramp.
Yeah. So we're gonna, instead of Mauricio, we're gonna call him Masseuse Pochettino. Is that
there we go? That'll work. Okay.
The masseuse.
To take your hole in the ship's bow a little further.
Okay.
I think that we started seeing it leaking, after the first two games of Jamaica, and the hole was small, and then the hole just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But instead of actually fixing the hole at all, he just changed the crew members. That's what he did. And the crew members are actually less experienced crew members. The ship's still going down slowly but surely, but he actually put new crew members on there that aren't going to fix the hole, and they're just on for the ride for a while. And hopefully what we see is that he gets some of those crew members back off and brings some really experienced crew members in who know how to fix the hole in the bow. And you know what? He's supposed to know too. Poach is supposed to have the skills to actually explain to the crew members on the ship how that hole should be repaired, because he's a seasoned captain. We'll see if that is the case, or if this ship just keeps sinking, along the way here. I hope not. I hope not. To
expand upon that, using the Titanic as an example, are we, the fans, just the band that's playing the cello and the string instruments as it's sinking?
I think I'd like to say we're on the beach waiting to see the whole fix, so we don't have to go out there and help. But you know what? In this day and age, we're just not on the beach. We're like on little boats nearby, screaming at Poach and the crew, hey, why don't you fix this shit? This ship is going down, dude. You need some help? Because I got some advice. Hey, they're not going to listen to us. They're the ones running that boat. So we're just going to stay on our little boats here and float around them and watch them. Yep.
Hey, Derek and I attend a live match and we win. I think there's correlation.
Yes, there. We need
U.S. Soccer, start giving us more tickets. Come on.
Fly them out to every game.
Absolutely.
The good omen. Well, I think the best way to sum this whole thing up is I think we're screwed, and we'll just see how bad the car wreck is. We're gonna watch the car wreck. You're not gonna turn your head. Yes, we're gonna watch the car wreck and just see how bad it truly is. Is it a fender bender? Did it explode? Who knows? We're gonna watch and see. I appreciate both you guys coming on here. It's always fun to talk to both of you guys. It's the first time I had both of you at the same time on here. It's actually Brett's first time on here. I'll have to have Brett back on again. Maybe we'll just do a trio the whole entire time. Maybe we'll just try to work something out where we can do that, make it interesting. Maybe we could, next time we'll go for 2 hours.
Sounds hot, Will.
Yeah.
What was masseuse?
Derek will bring the baby oil.
Yeah.
Just the three of us. Yeah, we can make it if we try. All right.
Before I let you guys go, where can the people watch your great show at? On Mondays, you have a live show. Thursdays, you have a live show. And then sometimes you guys obviously do live watch alongs. Where can they follow you guys at? Okay.
No, they can follow us on YouTube at the Straight Red Card. Also, Brett's on Twitter at it's just
straight_red.
Yeah. And I'm on there as Boomer Richie. So you can find us there. Yeah, we're a lot of fun. Come out and attack us.
That sounds fun.
All right.
Invitation has been sent. I appreciate you guys for being on here with me. Always fun to talk to you both. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.